For just €49 with plans from just €30 a month. All when you switch to 3, the only network with all-you-can-eat data, plus expert advice from Carphone Warehouse, the home of the networks. You won't find these deals anywhere else. Any network, any phone, any plan. Only Carphone Warehouse. T's and C's apply. Offer subject to 24-month contract.
Logically, you know Cube kitchens are expertly designed and fitted. Practically, you know they've got all the clever storage ideas you could wish for. Reassuringly, you know Cube have over 50 years experience, but that's not why you want one. Cube kitchens just look so overwhelmingly, irresistibly amazing. See our full kitchen wardrobe and furniture range including Caligaris in Dublin and Cork, or online at cubekitchens.ie, or call to arrange a free consultation. Be kitchen proud with Cube.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
So still PSV 1, Spurs 2, 80 minutes on the clock, and it looks like Hugo Lloris has just been sent off. Red card for Spurs, and they're bringing on Vorm, and I'm presuming Lloris has been sent off. I'll give you an update on that in just a second. Lloris still on the pitch, referee talking to him, and I think he's telling him, yeah, you got to go, buddy. And he's getting a pat on the chest from Eric Dyer as if to say, tough luck. And yeah, so Spurs down to 10 men for the last 10 minutes away to PSV. They're 2-1 up. It is interesting evening in the Champions League. PSG against Napoli in Liverpool's group will go a long way towards deciding the shape of it. Liverpool taking on Red Star Belgrade this evening. The group, as things stand, has Napoli on 4 points, Liverpool and PSG on 3 points. So it's very tight at the moment. The Liverpool team, if you didn't catch it earlier, Alisson in goal. They have Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. Joe Gomez moving into centre-half beside Virgil van Dijk. Andrew Robertson is at left full. And then with Henderson injured and with Fabinho, sorry, not with Fabinho, with Henderson and Naby Keita injured, Fabinho comes into the side. So it'll be interesting to get a look at him. Wijnaldum alongside him and Shaqiri. And then up front it's Mo Salah and Mane either side of Firmino. So that is the Liverpool team. Earlier on, when we suspected Fabinho was going to play, so he does come up in the discussion, as you'll hear. Earlier on, we caught up with Mark Lawrenson.
Evening, guys.
Where will you be watching Liverpool against Red Star?
You want the truth?
Always.
Well, obviously you do. I shall be watching it in a bar called Tim's Bar in Puerto Andratx, Mallorca.
I suspect it's not the first time you've been in Tim's Bar.
I would imagine I probably made 275 appearances just in the last year.
So you got a place out there. That's kind of where you watch the game and select spots.
So just kind of wander down. But I have a choice of two bars because I don't particularly like watching football with a host of other people because screaming and shouting. So if it gets too noisy, I just walk down to another bar where they kind of sit me in the back out the way.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, just talking about it, it's funny because I actually walked into that bar last night, another bar called the Central Bar, and the waiter came straight up to me and he just went, "I'll bet Champions League final, he's a Madrid fan, as in Real."
Yeah.
So I only had to pay him €10. I thought he was going to give me like the old €50 one.
So the game this evening, I mean, one of the interesting things is that there won't be any Red Star fans there. They invaded the pitch against Salzburg, so it will be a home occasion and then some. And even the Red Star players have kind of made the point, our squad's worth 44 million. We haven't been in this competition for about 20, 25 years. So I don't know. It's hard to know what to expect from them. PSG beat them 6-1.
Yeah, well, I think, given the state of the group as well, I think both, well, not both, but the three teams, Napoli included as well with PSG and Liverpool, will all be looking to beat Red Star on both occasions. Yeah. So that's certainly the key for Liverpool tonight, after having already beaten PSG, but obviously failing very, very late against Napoli. And I think they're just basically, in this competition there are three teams, the aforementioned teams playing for two spots. So and he's named his team already, hasn't he, Klopp? And Fabinho is going to start, which of course is interesting because he's kind of waited an awful long time to start in a high-profile game. But Liverpool won't be any different. They won't play any different. They'll kind of swarm all over Red Star Belgrade first 20 minutes, try and get a goal or two, and basically see how Red Star reacts.
Klopp was speaking about Fabinho, who's played 7 times for Brazil, I'm sure people are aware. He's a more reserved person, said Klopp. He's always looking and watching, absorbing, and it always takes a little bit more time when you're like this. He has all the qualities, hard challenges, good offensively. We just play a bit differently, a different system, and he needs a bit of time to adapt. What's the early word on Fabinho? Do they think he's going to be a success ultimately, or maybe?
Yeah. I was speaking to a couple of boys the other week, just at a function, and they say he's got loads of skill. And I think reading between the lines what they say, they'd never tell you exactly 100%, but I think it's a kind of a work ethic. I think obviously previous club he was very much one of the players. I wouldn't say he strolled around or strutted around, but he wasn't kind of a hands to the pump player. I think Klopp and the training that they've made him do is just obviously making him aware that boy, when you lose a ball in this team, it's harem scarum. So, and Klopp has a way of getting players to a certain level of fitness. He has a kind of tried and trusted test with them all, and something that he does with all of them pre-season. And if one or two of them fail to actually reach it, then obviously they seem to spend a lot longer doing extra training. And basically that's with Fabinho. And I think the other thing is reading between the lines with Klopp there. Obviously he's quite a shy guy, doesn't really know what's going on. He's kind of sat in the dressing room, doesn't get involved in the banter, but just kind of watches and works out, exactly what's happening.
I mean, Klopp held back Andy Robertson brilliantly, you would have to say, in hindsight last year when Mourinho wasn't having such a great time. But some players need that, and I guess you can only make that judgment if you're on the inside like Klopp is.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course, I mean, in every single dressing room of 20-odd footballers, 20-odd, obviously, male footballers, testosterone all over the place, and egos. It's always going to be different for different people. For some people, absolutely easy. Van Dijk just kind of cruised in, and he basically cruises through games. But yeah, I think it's just about judging people, and I think for the manager, one of his major strengths is man management. So, he possibly talks to Fabinho in maybe a different way, Joe, than he talks to all the other players, because of the fact that he's worked out exactly what he's like. And you just know that it takes all sorts of the loud ones, the gregarious ones, the ones that forever get taken the mickey out of, and all those kind of things. But there's always a handful that everybody absolutely loves as well. And it's just part and parcel of the makeup of any football dressing room, especially at this level. Yeah,
no doubt. It'll be interesting to see Fabinho in action then. And if you think back to the late part of last year, especially when Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain got injured, Liverpool really were down to the bare bones across midfield. So if you assume that Fabinho makes a bit of an impact, and you've got Henderson and Keita, we talked to you about Keita a couple of weeks ago, and Ronaldo and Milner, suddenly they've got real options there. I wonder in a Champions League final what their very best midfield might be.
Well, I wouldn't think Klopp will be wondering, because I think he won't even worry about that. If and when the time comes, then it's a nice problem to have. I mean, going back to Champions League final, they basically had 3 fit midfield players, and the talk was on the way over. I travelled with a bunch of officials from the club, but the talk was that any kind of injuries to anybody in midfield, and Trent Alexander-Arnold was playing in there, so that was how low they've got. But I think it's like anything, Joe. I think if you've got I'm not going to say a really good team, a really, really good squad, I think as a manager, you're not really bothered who you play. If they're all playing extremely well, but the ones who are in the team are playing well and you can't get them out, well, you just play with them. And, the nicest, in many ways, the nicest and the horriblest thing about being a manager is people knocking on your door saying, why am I not in the team? Your team's playing extremely well every week. You just go, well, did you watch us on Saturday? Did you see what we did? You get your chance, you get in the team, you get to that level, and you stay in. It's that simple. I
would think sometimes these partnerships can just emerge very naturally as well. You've got to kind of wait and see what works. And suddenly, I'm no doubt you've been there yourself at times on a pitch where you all suddenly realise, oh, this fits together very nicely for some reason.
Yeah, and do you know what the other thing is? Even in the best of teams, it isn't necessarily the best 11 footballers who make up that team. I mean, I always use the example of somebody like John McGovern at Nottingham Forest. When they won the European Cup on a couple of occasions, some of the younger listeners are saying, who the hell is he talking about now? But he probably wouldn't.
Don't worry, Martin O'Neill has briefed us very well on this team. We're very familiar with Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, but he he wouldn't have gotten by his own admission. John wouldn't have gotten a lot of teams in what was the then Football League at the time. But he was like the glue, that holding central midfield player, protect the two back players, Larry Lloyd and Kenny Burns and stuff. And it just absolutely totally worked. And I think it's a bit like anything with a manager. He may have 18 players who are all outstanding and think, well, this was probably my dream team. Very rarely does that ever happen, that those, his dream team turns out to be the best team on the day.
They're keeping pace very nicely with City, you would have to say. Klopp said after the Huddersfield game, he said, it's the first time maybe in my life that I'm winning average matches, as in these kind of potential banana skins and winning a 1-0 kind of game. So that's a big development. And then pre the international break, the 0-0 draw with City, the defeat to Napoli and the 1-0 draw with Chelsea, that was quite an intense period. What did you learn about them there? How did you feel they came through that?
Well, I think just look at it in many ways. Obviously, the Napoli defeat was really, really late. They didn't actually. That's the poorest they've been all season. In all honesty, they managed to change the game off the bench with Sturridge, obviously for the point they got at Chelsea with his wonder goal. I thought the City game was very much the two teams cancelling each other out. Yeah. And I think really the best result was Manchester City, insofar as going to Anfield where they normally get panned, and they've actually survived the first 25 minutes and started playing the football and looked a really good side. And what I often hear from supporters, and they say, well, the front three haven't really kind of hit it this year. And I go, well, where are they in the league? And they go, well, yeah, but they've not sort of done what they did last year. And I go, well, they're unbeaten, and they've won 7 games, drawn 2. So it's a funny thing with winning a league, because people will describe it as a marathon. It is, because it lasts so many months and you've got so many other competitions, you've got so many other hurdles to get over with, fitness, form, travelling, tiredness, all those kind of things. I just cast my mind back to when we used to win it, and honestly, probably, Joe, 50% of the time, we probably didn't play particularly well, but we just kept winning. And I would, when people say, oh, yeah, all right, and they say, well, 1-7 and drawn 2, not played well. I went, well, imagine if they played well. We might have won all 9. So it's just one of those things, and I think the world we live in, that, football supporters just always want a little bit extra because of the way that football is viewed nowadays. But, if Klopp's saying that is a bold statement from a manager who had a very, very good side at Dortmund. Yeah.
Hey, we all want a bit more. It's the human condition, Mark, not just football.
It's called money, Joe.
It sure is. I mean, you could argue in a relatively short space of time then, if you take it for a moment, that the front three aren't quite firing like they did last year.
Yeah.
Quite suddenly, the success of these 7 games has been built on a fairly rock-solid defence. I think they've conceded something like 3 or 4 goals. They've managed to turn that around very quickly. Like, they could conceivably have gone to Huddersfield last year, and if you told them beforehand you're only going to score 1, there might have been a few itchy feet. Well, are we going to concede a silly goal and only come away with a point here? Whereas they're looking very, very sound at the back all of a sudden.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Van Dijk's been outstanding. He's been exceptional. And obviously, his partnership generally with Gomez, I know Lovren's played with him a couple of times, but his partnership with Gomez looks very, very good. Gomez will make mistakes. He's still very, very young, but the great thing for him, he's got enough pace to recover from his mistake. Trent as well at right back, he's another one who can make mistakes. Left out a couple of times, but he's done really well. I mean, the boy Robertson, out of all of them, he's just been, since really the first game he got in, and he's never really got out.
Yeah.
I can't remember him having a poor game whatsoever. And I didn't think, well, I know 1 or 2 people in Scotland who said to me, look, he said he's great going forward, but he ain't particularly good defensively. I've never really seen him in trouble by too many people, if any, and going forward he's been even better than I thought he was going to be. So, and then you've got Lovren to come in, you've got Matip to come in, etc. And the goalkeeper, the goalkeeper made his big mistake against Leicester away, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think he's one of those. I think he just parked that within about 30 seconds and just thought, well, I've done that, I'm going to get slaughtered, made the mistake, but it's gone.
Yeah.
And generally since then he's been absolutely rock solid. And by the way, he is a man mountain when you stand up alongside him. Crikey.
Right. We mentioned the front three. With Salah, he was kind of the focus of a lot of attention early on. Do you have any... I mean, it's hard to know how to phrase the question. I always had the nagging sense last year that we were watching the best season of Salah's life. You know, I felt fairly certain, you know, that was kind of the high point. And I'm curious, what do you think is going to be the average or the median for Salah? And even just in terms of, say, goals scored across a Premier League campaign. Is he kind of a 15 goals a season man and it's going to create a bit more and everybody will be very happy? Is that ultimately where he's going to pitch up?
I think I couldn't have worded that any better. Absolutely, certainly, yes. And, you know, people who say that he drops off a bit don't really know football, because that was a stellar season. There is no doubt about it. Everything. And by the way, you missed loads of chances as well early on in the piece, if you remember. But no, that was his season, and it's just, you know, it's always different. You maybe don't get the run of the ball. The ball doesn't break you in the box. Other people suddenly decide, well, let's stick 2 men on him, etc., etc. But if he this year gets anything between 15 and 20. Joe, it's almost 1 goal every game for a player who plays in the front three on the right-hand side. It's almost unheard of. Yeah.
I've 2 last ones for you. There's a text in from Damien. He said, Graham Souness on Monday night on Sky was talking about the best players he had played with or managed, and he talked about Ronnie Whelan as being just massively, massively underrated. Laro's thoughts, wonders, Damien?
Say again, sorry, Joe?
So Graham Souness on Monday night was talking about best players he played and managed, and he brought up Ronnie Whelan as being massively underrated, and Damien has said, can you get Laro's thoughts?
Oh, yes, of course, well, there was a big decision made at the football club all those years ago, because we had Kevin Sheedy, if you remember, and Kevin Sheedy played on the left of midfield and eventually went on to Everton and did extremely well because he had a magic wand of a left foot. But the club had to make a decision about Sheedy or Whelan, and I think the thing was Ronnie would get your goals cutting in from the left, which he did, and he tended to get the goals in big occasions. And by the way, and he's my neighbour, but he was a nasty little bugger in the tackle, Ronnie. He'd quite often leave his foot in, and a lot of players who've met him since and gone, crikey, what were you like? And they were all worried about Souness, and Souness would be charging around, they'd be getting out of his way, and then Ronnie would clatter them. And also, I think, you know, he was very, very neat and tidy on the ball, didn't give the ball away. And you won't know this, but we used to have a position in the side when we defended corners, and it was called the Ronnie Whelan position. He used to stand in the middle, exact middle of the 6-yard box, and he was never, ever allowed to run out of there. He was virtually our last man out of there, because when you think about it, there's so many goals scored from that particular position, whether it's flicked on from corners or when it comes back in. And he's got the position named after himself, the Ronnie Whelan thing. He was an outstanding player. Yeah. Very rarely got injured as well. That's another bonus. Yeah,
I guess all those things like being neat and tidy on the ball, never giving it away, never getting injured, all those little things which fellow pros value so highly can sort of be missed on a given day by the majority of us who see the guy who scored 3 goals.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's like this. If you're the manager and you've got a really, really good team, then that really good team is obviously very, very consistent. And there's nothing better sat on the sideline where, say, let's mark people out of 10. If almost every week you're getting 7 and 8 out of 10 from the majority of your players. Yeah. Ally that to what their ability and the technical know-how and the kind of savvy in winning games, and it makes your job so much easier. No doubt. Very last question. Did you see Juventus at Old Trafford last night? What you make of it? I did. I thought it was an absolute masterclass. I thought they were. I'm not anti-Manchester United. I thought they were head and shoulders above Manchester United. They just looked after the ball so well. And the classic thing, which is when you play against the opposition who haven't had the ball, they then start to do things on the ball where they just ended up giving the ball away. I thought they were great, Juventus. I really seriously did. They've almost gone in as favourites on the back of that performance last night, especially that first half. A lot of people liked it, thought it was brilliant the way they zipped it around. Yeah. Oh, well, I had them favourites at the start of the season because I think you just kind of look at all the other teams, and my problem with the English teams winning it, it's far more difficult for Manchester City and Liverpool, etc., to actually win the Champions League than it is for the likes of your Madrids, Barcelonas, and Juventuses, because the football associations of all those clubs move games for them, they give them extra days off. They actually help them win the competition. Yeah. The English Football Association are more of a hindrance. Yeah, it comes back to that money business again, I think. Listen, pleasure. Enjoy the game in Tim's pub. I will. Okay. Mark Lawrenson there. Thanks. Goodbye.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Get ready for